So I'm going to be using the Anastasia Brow Wiz in the shade Taupe. Yeah. And I'm just going along the bottom here just to lightly fill in. I don't like overdoing my brows at all. Like, I like the way my brows look, so that's what I do. And I like to just fill in, if I'm going to, just a little bit at this top here because I over waxed it by accident. I always do my tails if I'm gonna do my eyebrows, just because I want to be able to have the same amount of depth throughout. And then I just get a little bit of clear brow gel because my eyebrows are completely unruly. That's it. My tried and true. This is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Vanilla. It's literally all I've used this concealer, I want to say, since I was 18, 19, 20. I'm going to use the Anastasia number 18 brush because if we're going to focus on how we can sell to our clients, this is a brush that I would also recommend because it's a concealer brush, plus you can really flatten it out to make sure it's nice and crisp. So what I like to do is I like to line the bottom of my brow and just like that. So that way it creates a lift, but then also creates a shape. If you know me, this is like my favorite trick because I want to create a thicker base, and because my eyelids are a little bit more greasier than most people's, I really like to mix in my NARS eyeshadow primer in clear with the actual concealer itself. And I actually like to mix off the back of my hand because I really want to create a thicker base, but then also something that is going to last me through the night. So it doesn't have to be accurate or anything. We're just going to place it. So next is like one of my favorite things. It's the Morphe Jeffree Star Sponge. This is another product that we do sell in store. And because I don't want to get up to go to the sink, I'm actually going to be using my bougie water. This is the Caudalie grape water. And in the lid, I just like to put a little bit of water so that way it like absorbs and it also hydrates my eyelids at the same time. Right now I'm getting like 2,000 like Britney Spears like video. Does anyone feel that right now? Just me? Okay. Okay. So my sponge is soaked. Don't mind the nails. Quarantine's got to me. Okay, so we're just going to pat that all through. The reason why I'm using a sponge is because I want the sponge to absorb any excess product. After that, another trick that I actually like to do, and I do a lot of this with clients as well in store, I actually get a natural haired brush and I just kind of nothing on the brush, and I'm not putting any powder on it. Or I like to press all over my eyelid. The reason why I'm doing this is because the natural bristle will actually absorb any of the excess oils in the eyeshadow or in the primer as well as the concealer. And I don't want to have such a thick base because when I put my powder on my eyeshadow, I don't want to create clumps and I don't want to create skipping. Okay, the palette that I'm going to be playing with is this new Morphe and Jaclyn Hill collaboration number 2. Okay, so with this brush, I am going to dip in to the shade, I want to dip in actually to the deepest shade, or like one of the deepest shades, and I know that scares a lot of people because they need to blend it out, but I've been doing this now and I feel like it's made the most difference because that's what the most impact I really want. So the shade I'm actually going to be touching into is Oh Hello. It's this really beautiful burgundy shade. I am going to pack this a little bit above my natural crease, and then the same with the other eye. So I'm using this Morphe 456 brush. It's just like a little bit smaller than the number 27 brush from Sephora collection. Another one like this you could use is another number 27 brush, or you could also use the number 19 brush. Right here. So another like wine color, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to almost kiss it right on the edge, and I'm just gonna tap that out, and then once I get that color blended, that's where I'm going to start loosening up my pressure, or releasing my pressure and going a bit lighter to buff it out. So you can kind of see it's right along the edge here, and then whatever's left on pigment is where I'm gonna start to lightly blend up. Another Morphe M433 brush. It's very similar again to the 27 brush from Sephora collection. I like to use about 100 brushes in my services. If anyone has cleaned any of my brushes, thank you. Okay, so a color that I want to be able to transition, because it's almost like a light pink, I'm actually going to touch into the color Positivity in the palette. That part I did really tap off. And I'm just going to use very light pressure just above next eyeshadow, and then whatever's left on my brush is where I literally bring it up in my brow. I'm gonna leave that for right now, but I want to be able to cut my crease and then add a little bit more depth. The reason why I'm doing that is because I don't have the most perfect crease, and I want to be able to create a nicer crease, so this is what I'm going to do. I like to use thicker concealers as opposed to the NARS one. NARS is pretty like thick and creamy, but I like something a little bit more matte and bulletproof, especially for cutting the crease, that will dry down a bit quicker. So I'm going to be using, this is way too dark for me also, it's in the shade called Cream Puff. One time I used this under my eyes and it looked like I didn't sleep for 15 years, so that's great. We're going to go in with the same brush. This is the Anastasia number 18 brush. This is the one that we carved out my eyebrows with. And I like to put a lot, but also enough to thin out the brush. So a really great tip too, if you're doing your own cut crease, is I like to actually line the bottom like this and then just kind of do this, because I have extremely hooded eyes and that creates a stamp. So what I'm gonna do next is I actually go kind of look at where that's stamped, and I just follow it through right to the edge of this eye, and then I look down as well. So that's, again, now it's starting to create a crease. So I'm gonna actually connect the two, and I'll show you in 1 second. Another trick that I've actually been learning that I feel like it's really opened up my eyes, especially a lot more, is I don't actually stop right here. I actually go a little bit further out and then create the crease. And I find that this creates more symmetry for me. M433 brush, and what I'm gonna do is I actually like to again pat that concealer with nothing on the brush, and just it absorbs any of excess concealer that I don't need, and I like to do it on both eyes. Okay, next what I'm going to do is this line right here, I'm actually gonna tap and blend that concealer with the eyeshadow. And you can start to see it's blending, even that little wing. Well, that's too bad. We're going to be using the Morphe 124 brush. It's similar to the number 14 or 15, I think. 14. It's from Sephora collection. I'm going to be touching into the shade, again, Hello. Oh, Hello. That's the one that I used in the, to deepen, but because I lost a lot of it, I'm actually going to be packing it on. And noticing I'm not going anywhere past my arch, but then also not blending out too far. It's the orangey shade brush that I used, and I'm just going to marry these two, like the colors together, and blend it out lightly, and then move this darker color lightly slowly into the middle. And that's just going to create an easier transition for me when I put a medium shade down. See already how it looks blended. This is my favorite brush. This is my absolute go-to. I believe it's something similar to the number 41 from Sephora collection. It is the Morphe brush M506. I'm actually going to be touching into Oh Hello as well and really tapping off and just going right above that cut just to deepen it further. Yeah, see the difference? I'm gonna apply, this is the Sephora collection liquid eyeshadows. They were in part of the winter collection in number 3. I'm just gonna use this and roll it on the back of my hand so that way I can get a brush and have more control. Don't be afraid of liquid eyeshadows. I feel like a lot of people are, but I am not. It took me years, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna pick it up with my old MAC brush and I'm just gonna tap this all over the crease. It's a little bit translucent, but I am gonna put a shadow over top of it, but you can kind of see it's really pretty. My Self Mitchell palette from Beauty Bay. It's amazing. I'm gonna be touching into this baby pink shade called Milkshake. Actually touching up with the Morphe M456 brush. It's a little bit more of a flatter brush, but I'm gonna pick it up with this brush so that way it's not so focused. And I'm actually gonna touch in where the dark and the light begin, so that way it creates a better transition. So if you look closer, you can kind of see like this is still a little bit of harsh, like it almost looks more translucent than what it is. I'm actually going to be going in with the same brush and the same color, just lightly tapping that all throughout, so that way any see-through peekaboos, we can just cover that up, and that way it still has that glittery effect. Eyeshadow I'm going to be putting on top is the Make It Forever Diamond Starlight Glitter. If you know me, I use these in every Glamours, and I don't know why Sephora took this way, but this is the shade called number 102. It's my absolute favorite. This eyeshadow, I'm actually going to pick it up with the M166 brush. Little goes a long way, and I'm just going to tap that all over. And the reason why I like this one so much is it's like a translucent glitter. And all it does is just add like a bit of glitter and shimmer, some dimension. So I'm actually gonna focus a little bit more on the outer corner because it's not dark enough for me and I really, really wanna make my eyeshadow pop. So I'm gonna go back in with this brush and I'm gonna touch into the shade Crazy. And I'm gonna mix it in with Temptress. It's like a cranberry and black shade. And I'm gonna mix those two together. And I'm actually gonna focus this right on the outer part of my eye. And don't worry about fallout. This is why I didn't do my face makeup first. I know some people do, but I don't. Perfect. So again, with the same brush, I'm gonna pick in Oh Hello and Crazy together, so that way those shades will melt together. And I'm just tapping out those colors. There you go. I'm going to start to play with a little bit more color because I have the base down. I'm actually going to touch into Not My Journey, and I'm just going to tap that right where that crease begins, or the shade where it goes from light to dark. And then again, I'm gonna go in with that light pink shade. You can start to see it transforming. So another color I'm going to touch into, it's going to be with this brush. This is the Morphe E18 brush. I'm actually going to be touching into My Man and Positivity, those two together. And then I'm just going to tap off the excess, and then right at the corner here, I'm going to apply a little bit of that orange. Because I just want a little bit of intensity right there. I'm just going to wipe any of the fallout away, but we all know that I really like the Laneige makeup remover, but I ran out, and I'm just gonna run with it and not buy anything. So I like to follow through, like almost at the lower lash line, and that way it creates a sharp line for me, so that way when I go to do my wing liner, it's already pretty much done, but I still will clean it up. Same thing. Anastasia purple liner. I'm obsessed with it. It's great. I'm just looking at my eyeshadow now. Okay. I like to make sure there's not too much on the brush. And then I actually like to line, let me get right in there, a fine line all across my lash line before I do the wing. And the reason why I like to do it that first before the wing is because I like to make sure I get right to the corner and then lower out, because if I just do start to do the wing first, sometimes the wing can go higher and then I have to match the height of the wing with my liner, and I hate that because I have such small lid space. I want to be able to create some balance. Perfect. So this is what I like to do. I like to go right along the bottom here. And just create a very soft line, get a little bit of the excess off of here, and then connect it all together. So as you can see, it looks a little jank, but I'm just going to flick it up. Okay. This one's the MAC 228S brush, and I like to go in with the actual black eyeshadow, tap off the excess, and I like to apply that black eyeshadow right on to the wing liner. This way it creates a smokiness, and that way it blends out, so that way it looks more harmonious and complements the eyeshadow. That's just what I feel anyways. And this way it also fills in some of my crepiness because my eyelids have eczema. There you go, creates a bit more intensity too. get my trusty napkin wipe thing and wipe everything away again. So I need to follow, crisp it up a little bit. That way, I always like to say to clients, like, don't worry about your liner being perfect for the time being, because we're gonna make it perfect. Another trick that I like to do too, I grab a pencil brush. I like to grab like a light shade. This is what shade I'm gonna be using is Certified. And I like to go, it's just like a matte skin tone shade for myself, just underneath the brow bone before I put highlight. This way it creates a blend as well, but also softens any of the harsh eyeshadow. I like to bring it right along the bridge here because I find that's my hardest, and it just blends all the eyeshadows. So I'm going to be going in with my Ride or Die, the Tatcha serum stick, and I'm going to be applying that literally everywhere. Like even right underneath my eye, because you can use it as a touch-up balm for the under eye. As soon as this runs out, I will be forever sad. But also I'm gonna go be running to Sephora when we are open again, or at least ordering it online again, because this is my secret to like my glowy skin. Next, what I'm gonna do is the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury. This is another great one too. And I like to just apply it on my T-zone. I get a fibrous brush. This one is, or a synthetic fiber brush, it's the MAC brush. But something like the number 99 brush is something I would use just to blend this out. Foundation, I am going to be going in with my favorite, which is the Dior Forever Skin Glow Foundation. It's my favorite ever. So I pump some in the back of my hand. I get my tried and true, the number 47. And I'm just applying this with a brush first, and then I'll use a beauty blender to just buff it out. Hey Google, can you play Captain Hook by Meg Thee Stallion? Another thing, actually, my tip, totally forgot. Can't believe I forgot. Don't ever let me do that again. I get the same concealer brush as we cut the crease. I get the same concealer brush and I actually go right along the tops of my brow. And that way I don't have to get foundation there, and that way I don't get my brows ruined. Look how easy that was. Pen a little bit more. And I like to apply a little bit more foundation, personally, myself, more towards the perimeter of my face, just because the center of my face, even though it is discolored, I find it has the most texture, so I don't like to apply. I'm going to go in with my NARS one again, the Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Vanilla, and I am just going to put a little bit like that. And this is where I get my same brush. I'd be a little bit more precise, and that way I actually get my wing. And I get right underneath that. That way it creates more of a crisp look. My little sponge. And I don't like to get right up to my eye right away. And I'm just gonna make sure it's all nice and blended. Okay, next, because this is a flat edge brush, or sponge, sorry, I like to get right up to my wing and just kind of blend it out. So next I'm going to contour my face. I'm going to be using the Hollywood contour one from Charlotte Tilbury. And I like to do my contour actually a little bit higher than most because I can blend it out more like a bronzer as opposed to a contour, because my face is a little bit more naturally oval, but I just want to bronze it to create some more dimension. Okay, then I actually get the same foundation brush, and this way it makes more of an easier blend. Because it already have foundation in it, so it just creates an easier blend, like I said. But mind you, this product is extremely easy to blend out, as you can see. And then for my nose, because I did put a little bit too much on, I'm just gonna tap it out with the Beauty Blender. Okay, next side. There we go. I don't really like to set my face, and this makes everyone scream, and I get it and I understand, and I also scream at clients when they're like, why is my makeup falling off? And I'm like, did you set your face? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, that's why. Okay. But I don't. I hate it. I find I look like a crusty potato at the end of the day. I get my sponge, make sure I'm touching into the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder. Yes, I know it's a setting powder, but I don't actually set the rest of my face, just my under eyes and my T-zone. And because it is really great for drier skin types, because it has the rose wax, rose wax and almond oil for hydration. So that's why dry skin people really love this and they don't get oily. Shout out to Alyssa, because when she was prepping with me for full face application, she blew me away with how she actually sets her makeup, and this is how I've always done it ever since, so thank you. You always learn something new every day from whoever, and whatever. So I like to grab a synthetic brush, because a natural brush, especially on this powder, this is the Hourglass Ambient Light powder in the shade Dim Light. The natural hair brush is actually going to dig up and ruin the product, as opposed to the synthetic, which is softer and it's actually just gonna buff the excess. And I'm just going to tap all around my face. It just creates more of a glow, but then also, because I like to be darker than I actually am, a little bit of bronzing. And I'm just going to tap it in, and I'm just going to tap that bronzer more towards into my hairline and bringing it forward. So that way we're focusing all that product towards the back of my hairline as opposed to the front. And then brushing the hair. Okay. Perfect. So then this is the same on the other side, focusing it more towards the hairline. So next, what I'm gonna do is I really want to incorporate a little bit of shadow underneath. So I'm gonna get this brush again, and I'm actually gonna touch into Oh Hello as well as Crazy, mix those two colors together, and I'm actually gonna focus the shadow right under my eye to about there. Okay, do the same on the other eye. Stop. Same brush that I used, I think it was Tipsy Girl and Loli Mama or something. I'm just gonna touch into those two colors and really dust off the color, the intensity. And then I'm just going to buff. Okay. And we're just going to focus that color and buff it out. Yeah. Okay. Tipsy Girl, Little Mama. Tap it off, focusing again more of the pigment and buffing it out towards the back of the eye and then bringing it forward. Same shadow brush, and I'm going to touch into the black, and I'm just going to focus that right at the lash line, but it's also just going to intensify and make my eyes look more pulled out. So same on the other eye. And notice I didn't go past my pupil. Next I'm just gonna apply some mascara. I don't like to curl my lashes because my natural lashes are already really curly, and I just don't like the look of really curly lashes. And I'm using my absolute favorite mascara ever. Everybody needs to try this at least once. It's the Pat McGrath Fetish Eyes mascara. So I use tweezers, but we can use the velour ones, but I like to use tweezers. I'm just gonna pop these on. There's no real way I like to do it. I just like to kind of look down.
That's why we need donors every day. There are lots of reasons to donate blood. Book now at blood.ca. Tomorrow, next week, and next month, the need for blood is constant. Check your eligibility to donate and book now at blood.ca. Canadian Blood Services.
Oh. Okay, so next step I like to do with highlighter. But before I do that, I'm kind of a crazy makeup artist. I don't really like setting spray, so I like to use the Beauty Elixir. It is kind of a setting spray, but I like to use more hydration because my skin cracks throughout the day. I like to use the Amrezy highlighter. Still haven't hit pan though. And then I like to go in with my Anastasia highlighting brush, literally layer it. I don't tap off any of the product, and I like to do it right on the high point and then buff out. Little brush. This is the number 506 as well, again from Morphe, and I like to go trying out, this is actually discontinued, I believe now. These are the unlaced liquid lipsticks from NARS. I like to melt the lip liner and the lipstick together. I just find it looks better and more natural. And then I like to apply another coat of lip gloss. This is the Marc Jacobs Cream and Sugar lip gloss, and I'm just focusing this right in the center. This is the finished look. So I like to even, there's the highlighter.